You guys saw a title and thumbnail, right? And you're like, what's this guy talking about? I want to tell you guys why, but first, I want to talk about the game a little bit. This game is incredibly fun. If you're just looking for a fun driving game, fun car game, this is probably, honestly, my favorite one out right now. It's so addicting. So I've been playing it for like probably a month now. I put in like every other night or so, I'll put in like an hour. So I have some decent time on it. If you guys are pretty familiar with this game, I'm at the rep level 17. So I've played through a decent amount of it. But there's just one thing that happened, and is kind of why I stopped playing it as much. I was really having fun with the street racing, having fun with the storyline, all that stuff. So right now, this car's set up as a road race car. So we got traction control off, we got drive style, gas, downforce, all the way down, steering sensitivity, almost all the way up to the highest. That would probably be how I would play any game. We're looking for like the most aggressive setup for the car. So that's pretty standard with like any other video game. Except for the weird drifting by gas or brake. That's unique to Need for Speed Heat, I believe. So I mean, pretty fun, right? Like we got a drift. But let's transfer locations real quick. So let's go over to. Okay, so I want to show you guys the car setup I have on this a little bit, and then we're gonna go take it out drifting and kind of see what happens. So. I'm pretty much everything on Pro Plus, Turbo's still on Pro, so it's, I mean, obviously we could get more power. I could have played further in the game. I just didn't want to play anymore, and it was very frustrating. So we're gonna go to drift. Usually I don't do like any research online before. I like to like figure it out on myself and play before, which is what I did with this game. But I started getting so frustrated with the drifting in it, I started looking up other tutorials people have done, people that like play these games professionally, things like that, because that's not what we do, right? We drift in real life, and I just want to show you guys, what our opinions are on these games, because some of them are great for learning and practicing drifting. So someone on there, after researching, I found someone saying that actually using all the speed cross stuff is much better than the drift stuff. So we're gonna put speed cross on for the coilovers, for the tires, we're gonna do speed cross, and then as well as for the differential, we're gonna do speed cross, which for whatever reason lifts the car up. We were slammed. Transmission, we'll go to 6-speed. We want a little longer gears. It's like always more ideal for drifting. We don't want like 8 gears and have them be shorter and then have the upper end ones just be way too crazy long. So basically we have speed cross on for diff, tires, and coilovers. The rest of it is just souped up to be fairly powerful. This car could be a lot more powerful, but right now it's at, what does it say? 334 horsepower. So in theory, as we talk about in our how to drift videos, that should be great, right? So there's a lot of that, like that's the thing, this game is so sick. Like there's so many sick locations for drifting. One of my favorite spots, I don't necessarily know what it's called, but I'll show you guys here on the map when we go over to it. But it's basically like a big like NASCAR circuit, and they have all this like this road course inside it, and it's super, super fun. Palm City Raceway, I think is what it's called. Yeah. So let me get over there and then I'll show you guys where it is on the map. But this was probably the spot that stuck in my mind the most out of any of them. Palm City Motor Raceway. And there's even like a drift challenge track on here too you can do, so it really is set up for drifting. The other thing I want to do though is I want to go to manual real quick. You can adjust dead zone a little bit. Let me show you guys what I did on that actually. Dead zone I have at 8%. I didn't play around with that a whole lot, but it was at like, I want to say 20 or 30%. And I felt like going down to 8%. Dead zone is basically like if you move the stick, like where you go and where it starts basically translating into the game. So if you have it on 30%, you have to think that a third of that movement is dead, so nothing happens. And it was on like 20 or something. And so I found when I was trying to adjust and turn the steering wheels, it wasn't really working all that well. So I went down to 8%. You could probably even go to 0, but then it gets like super twitchy. So you can initiate with the throttle or handbrake. I hit the NOS by accident. So in theory, in any game, this setup should work pretty well, but it just doesn't. And even watching, I got so frustrated with this game, even watching other guys' gameplay that had more powerful cars, right? They're like, you gotta get as powerful of a car as you can get, like 700 horsepower. To me, it really made no difference in the realism of the drifting. And that's just what bummed me out so much about this game, because it has everything. It has all the stuff. Before I forget, let me show you guys where we're at on the map. So we're at Palm City Raceway. Like, Palm City Raceway has so many sick little corners. Down here by Granada Wildlands. Look at all those crazy corners, if you guys can see on my cursor. Like, these layouts and like street drifting areas are honestly sicker than any of the Forzas in my opinion. It's hard to compare this to like a motorsport because those are tracks. But Horizon, if you guys don't know, is just like this. It's an open world and they have spots set up for drifting. But this one, I think, has some of the best spots. So what's the problem? You know, the customizing's sick, the graphics are sick. I mean, look at the freaking car. It's super fun driving around. The drifting, no matter what I do, and watching other people's gameplay, no matter what they do, it is just so, I don't want to say arcadey, because you guys are going to say, oh, we knew that. It is arcadey, but arcadey can still be fun and realistic. I know it sounds weird, but like there's still things to gather from it. I would say FR Legends, that's the last one we reviewed, I would say that's pretty arcadey. But I feel like there's a lot to learn and there's still some realism to it. This one is arcadey and also completely unrealistic. Like the car mechanics, it doesn't slide how it should. For example, I'll show you guys something. We're gonna build up a bunch of speed and we're gonna hit the handbrake. Yeah, and I'm even in the rain, which should make a huge difference. I haven't found that it really does. Which, I'll talk about why they may have done that in a second. But okay, so we're rolling like 150 miles per hour. So let's just, let's rip the handbrake. Watch the speedometer. That's insane. It's like literally hitting like 8 piston big brakes on it. And it slows down like that. That is just not even close to how a real handbrake would work. And it's so not close to how a real handbrake would work that it doesn't really work for drifting. It slows you down so much. So if I go around here, like I just took 20 miles per hour off just by touching the handbrake. Yeah. And it acts like a real handbrake where you hit it and it's just the rear wheels, but it's, yeah, I mean, it just slams your car to a stop. Okay, so now we're like, let's just go throttling, right? So let's go, we're just stay in third gear. We should be able to do that. I mean, for example, Majin straight. If you guys don't know, it's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, I can't figure out how to get a very good Majin straight. I can drift a corner, no problem. Look, easy, right? But then when you want to chain, you actually have to like double throttle again. You have to reinitiate. The game isn't set up, the mechanics aren't set up for you to drift this way and then drift that way. See, even there, I had to double hit the throttle and reinitiate, so I'm not actually drifting, I'm power sliding. This whole game is actually based around power sliding. I don't know. And so this is what frustrated me so much about the game, you guys, is because it was advertised, to me, at least, my opinion, it was advertised as a drifting game. They got Rocket Bunny kits in it, they got 240s, you have the R34, you got R32 in it. It has all the stuff. It has crazy customizing, like drift styling. I mean, it has like BN Sport kits in it and Bosozoku exhaust pipes, all the stuff. And I got super excited when I got this game, but it's not a drifting game at all. It's a power sliding game and it's fun. The power sliding is fun, but there's absolutely no realism in it for drifting, in my opinion. And that bummed me out. And that's why I said it's the worst drifting game ever made, because if the drifting was sick in this, if the drifting was even to the level of Forza Horizon, this would be, in my opinion, one of the best drifting games ever made, because it has all the other stuff. It has the graphics, the cars, the tracks. It's addicting, it's fun, the music is sick in it, it's exciting. It's just like, and I don't care about the arcade gameplay. We've talked about that. The arcade gameplay, you can still find realism in it. This is just, besides the arcade gameplay, the way you're set up to drift is not drifting, it's power sliding. And that just bummed me out. Like, I was super excited for it. And so I would not recommend this game at all for drifting. But I would recommend it if you just want a fun car game. I've played Midnight Club, all the Forzas, all the old Need for Speeds, and this is by far one of the funnest car games out there. But drifting wise, I'm really unsatisfied with it. So that's honestly it, guys. I don't really know what else to say. I'm bummed out about this one. I put a lot of time into this game. I tried different setups, and then I ended up going and researching other people's videos and what they had to say about it, and it's just not set up for it. So if you want a cool car game, 10 out of 10. Drifting, I hate to do this, but honestly, like a 2 out of 10. Like, yeah, you can drift. It's a power slide. I guess if you already have this game and you don't want to go buy another game and you want to do some drifting, then sure. But it's not going to teach you anything. The fact that you have to reinitiate to chain a drift, the fact that the handbrake is like having 8-piston crazy brakes, you're going to learn everything wrong, and you can't even really get a proper line in it. Like if I want to handbrake and like hit this outer edge, it pulls you off of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. The interesting thing is I was really like kind of nervous, honestly, about doing this video, because I was like, everyone's gonna be pissed. They're gonna hate it because, you know, what did we find out? That drifting sucks. But that's part of this series. We're gonna go through all these games. I don't do any research. I don't go and look up if, you know, the community thinks this is a good drifting game. I go into it blind and with maybe the experience that I have with the game. And so that's what I did on Need for Speed Heat. That's what I found out. So I think that's about it. FR Legends though, great drifting game. Go check that video out. We're gonna just start doing more of these. You guys seem to really enjoy them. So stay subscribed if you already are. If you're not, welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on,